Do your pesky opponents keep playing this weird e5 move against your d4 opening and you don't know what to do? Well, give me about 5 or 6 minutes of your time and we will solve this problem once and for all. First thing you want to do is take. Your opponent is going to play the move knight c6. You're going to defend the pawn by playing knight f3. Opponent will attack the pawn one more time by playing queen e7. And he wants you to play the move bishop f4, which you want to play this move too. Right now you're just going along, oh, my pawn, I'm protecting it. He is going to play the move queen b4. It is very important in this position to defend the check with your bishop. You have to play bishop back to d2. If for some reason you do not do that and you play a random move like c3, you will lose the bishop. This is one of the first traps within the Englund Gambit, which this line is called, this gambit that the black pieces are playing. So you want to make sure to defend by playing bishop back to d2. Your opponent will then take the pawn on b2, in which you will play knight c3. Now there are two different variations from here. In this video, we will be covering the knight b4 variation, in which your opponent is hoping to win your queen. The main line variation is bishop b4. About 50% of the time, I have the Leap Chess database up right now. About 53% of the time, your opponent will play the move bishop b4. The other 36% of the time, your opponent will play the move knight b4. The refutation to both are very similar, but again, in today's video, we are going to discuss the knight b4 variation. Opponent plays knight b4. The move you have to make right here. If you're going to try to get into this refutation, you have to remember one move, and that move is playing knight d4 here. Your opponent's idea, if you do not play this, say you just play something random like a3, your opponent will take and you lose your queen. That's his whole idea by playing this knight b4 line. So you have to play knight d4 here, in which typically your opponent will play something like c6, doubling down, c5, doubling down, trying to get rid of this knight, and so that he can continue with his idea. If he does play that, you are going to play an intermezzo move of rook b1 to get rid of the queen, and this will solve that problem. In this game, my opponent apparently knew that I knew the theory and wanted to get out ahead of that and play. Let me just go through this line real quick. If opponent plays this line right here, you will play an intermezzo move of rook b1. Opponent will play queen a3, and then you will get the knight to b5, and your opponent will play queen a5. Now, if you look at this position right here, this is essentially the position we're going to get to anyway. The opponent just kind of bypassed it. He immediately moves his queen to a3, eliminating the intermezzo move, and then I move the knight to b5, attacking the queen. Again, we have ideas of a fork. This is one of the main things you want to look for in this opening, in this refutation. Opponent is forced. 83% of the time, opponent plays a5 here. And then this is a very, very important move in this position. To play, you have to remember, I've done this refutation, played against this Englund Gambit so many times, and one of the big things that I tend to forget is playing the move a3, kicking the knight. Actually winning the knight. You win the knight here. Opponent will somehow or another try to break the pin. That might look like a random move, but the only other move that your opponent will probably play would be knowing that he's going to lose the knight and just giving it up for a pawn. However, in this game, opponent just wanted to break the pin and not lose his queen. He loses the knight. We are plus 4.0 here, and this is another very important move. Pause the video just for 1 second and see why this is an important move. In this game, I knew evaluation bar has me at plus 4.8 in this position. I know that I'm way ahead. The Englund Gambit is, from the engine's perspective, a very bad opening, but from a player's perspective, it is very, very tricky. There's a lot of memorization and a lot of little tricks that the black pieces have. And I was in this position, I sat here for a minute, like, how am I losing a knight here? Like, I know I'm way ahead. Because if I move my knight, well, then he picks up my other knight with his queen. So I sat there, and I was like, oh, he can't take. If he takes, he loses his rook. So this is another very important thing to remember. And looking at this position, if you look at, you might say, oh, well, how do you know the opponent's going to do that? Well, 50% of the time the opponent in this position plays a6. The other 41% of the time, so 91% of the time, they either play a6 or b6. This is theory. You're in theory up until this point in the game if you're trying to play this reputation. Opponent plays a6. I realize that he can't take. And then I play a very important move of e3, allowing for some development. Because if you look in this position, if I don't play e3, I don't have any development here. And one of the problems with the refutation of the Englund Gambit that I've had is I get past all of his tricks. I'm like, okay, there's no more traps, there's no more tricks, but I don't have any development, and I end up in some kind of free-for-all and end up losing anyway because I don't have any development. My king doesn't get safe, and it just ends up kind of, I mean, it can just be real tricky. So I play e3. Opponent, again, plays a6, which is a pretty common move here to try to kick the knight. He wants to get rid of the knight. We swap the knight, and I'll just show you, from here on out, the game can go a number of different ways. I'll go ahead and show you how this game ended. By the way, I played this game with 96% accuracy through 24 moves. But again, after this point, the game could go. We're not in theory, we're just kind of playing here. But just to give you an idea of how bad a position the opponent, like I'm plus 5.7 right here, and just to give you an idea of how bad of a position my opponent is, his king is still in the middle of the board. I move the knight to safety. He takes a pawn. Again, I put pressure on his king, get the knight back. He's still trying to develop pieces, and we're on move 16, and look at his pieces. He's just in terrible. I get the bishop out, very important thing, and then I get castled. Now look at this position. Look how comfortable I am here. I have all of my pieces developed. They're not only developed, but they're all in good. Yeah, my rooks aren't ideal, I suppose, although one of my rooks is on a semi-open A file. But even the pawn I have here is protected, the knight's protected, bishop protected, just everything is in a really, really nice position here. And the opponent still, doesn't have any development whatsoever. I'm pressuring the rook here. He has to cover up. He's just in a terrible position all the way around, and ultimately just gets mated real quick. So there is your refutation to the Englund Gambit. Short and sweet. Hopefully it doesn't give you any more problems anymore, and you can destroy the Englund Gambit as a d4 player and not be like, oh, well, I'm just going to sit here and not get into the Gambit. Pretty easy refutation. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you play it and you have much success, because I do not like the Englund Gambit. I have lost a ton of games to it. Y'all have an amazing day. God bless.